How would you like to improve your health and keep your family safe? You're listening to the Healthy Home Hacks podcast, where we firmly believe enjoying optimal health shouldn't be a luxury. Healthy Home Authorities and husband and wife team Ron and Lisa will help you create a home environment that will level up your health. It's time to hear from the experts. Listen in on honest conversations and gain the best tips and advice. If you're ready to dive in and improve your well-being and increase your energy, you're in the right place. All right, here are your hosts, biobiologists, authors, media darlings, vicarious vegans, and avocado aficionados, Ron and Lisa Barris.
Let's make life easier with one paint and endless possibilities. It's Beyond Paint, a true all-in-one paint that includes primer, bonder, and sealer for cabinets, countertops, furniture, and more. Beyond Paint allows the dreamers to do more, easier, and better than ever before. Just pick your color, clean and degrease, no stripping, sanding, or priming needed. Stir, paint, and watch your vision quickly come to life with Beyond Paint. Paint beyond your imagination with the ability to bond to any surface. Made for everyone, from the DIYer to the seasoned professional. It's beyond just paint. It's saving time, money, and effort, so we can dream big with even bigger results. Beyond Paint, an all-in-one solution to transform any space.
Our guest today, the legendary Udo Erasmus, is back for part 2. Yeah!
Yeehaw.
He is the co-founder of the Udo's Choice line. Udo designed the machinery for making the oil with health in mind and pioneered flax oil, a $1 billion industry, which we discussed at length in episode 103. So friends, be sure to head back to that episode. It's chock full of great information that you don't want to miss.
But today we are tackling the state of the world and how to navigate in today's chaotic environment, when the number of people seeking mental health care is trending upward, including those with anxiety, such as OCD, and panic disorder, depression, PTSD, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, anxiety and depressive disorders grew exponentially. Depressive symptoms grew about 28%, and anxiety disorders grew 25%.
You know, young adults ages 18 to 25 in the US have the highest rate of experiencing any mental health concern. And the percentage of US adults receiving mental health treatment is also rising. Mental health is definitely taking its toll and costing a lot of money. Depression and anxiety have a great impact on the global economy, equating to $1 trillion in lost productivity each year.
Udo is here to shed light on this issue. Udo is an acclaimed speaker and author of many books, including the best-selling Fats That Heal, Fats That Kill. Udo has an extensive education in biochemistry, genetics, biology, and nutrition, including a master's degree in counseling psychology.
Welcome back to the show, Udo. Yes.
Well, glad to be here again with you live wires.
Oh my goodness.
Woo, that's a compliment.
It's a live wire show. And funny is, I had this little reminder. Udo came up in my reminder in my Outlook today, right? And I thought it was just to take my Udo's oil. So I took my Udo's oil, but then I realized, no, that's not just it. Udo is going to be on the show with Healthy Home Hacks. So it was a double positive experience.
Yes.
There you go.
And I just took my Udo's oil, which I mix Udo in my grapefruit juice because I can't stomach just swallowing it.
Well, you're not supposed to take it all by itself. It's supposed to be always mixed in food.
Oh, okay. Ron's getting refined today.
Yeah. You know, it's like there are people do that off the spoon, you know, and then they come to me and they say, well, I don't like the taste of your oil.
Right.
Well, how did you take it? Well, I took it off a spoon. Well, when did you take cooking oil off a spoon? Ever? Did you ever do that? No, I never do that. Well, why are you doing it with mine?
Right. We're not guzzling olive oil.
Belong in foods, and oil will always have that texture, that oily texture.
Okay.
And if you're like really into taste, oil is not the place to go for taste. But oil will pick up taste of other food and make those foods taste better.
Yeah.
Do that.
I love it in juice. I do organic grapefruit juice or orange juice. We switch it up and it's so delicious. You really can't taste the oil when you do that. And you're right. You could put it on your salads or whatever. But Since you've been on the show, we've been telling everyone, friends, family, and of course, we got a lot of great feedback on your episode, about this epidemic of people lacking omega-3 fatty acids in their diet. And so, guys, again, go back to episode 103 if you didn't hear that. But today is a different topic, and we're so excited to have you here. So we want to pick up the conversation from our last episode on areas of living healthy that we didn't have time to discuss. Can you speak to our listeners about mental health for modern times and how to find and keep your power and light no matter how dark, confusing, and chaotic the world becomes?
Oh, no, that's a tall order, isn't it?
That's a tall order. That's a double extra venti latte foam.
Absolutely. And I'm up for it. So look, if you live in a world that is corrupt or confusing, or people don't know what's true, so they guess, that's going to be hard on you. Because, if I know I want to go in that direction and I see the road where to go, that's easy. But if the goal is vague and the road's not clear, then it's going to be hard. And that's what mental illness is like that.
Yeah.
Because the truth is there's something in your being that is absolutely, completely calm, content, in peace, fulfilled, whole, beautiful, unconditionally loved, empowered. That all sounds like good stuff as an experience, not as a head trip, but it's an actual experience of your being. And you get there by sitting down, taking time every day, sitting down, leaving all your distractions outside for a few minutes, and just sit down and become really still and see how deep you can go into that stillness and see how long you can hang out there and see what you discover in that stillness, because that's where you find yourself. And that's where you find your magnificent self, because you, by nature, by the universe that creates everything, are a magnificent little spark of being. Okay? But if you don't take the time to do that, and therefore you don't focus in on what is beautiful about you, then you're always going to be in interaction with everything on the outside that's changing. And then you're going to, something in us wants a certain amount of foundation or constancy or safety. And if we don't go to where that safety lives in us, then we're always going to be, oh my God. And then we want to control everything that's always changing.
Yeah.
By stillness, you mean meditation, right? Do you mean meditation or just quiet thought?
Whatever gets you to shut up and just feel.
Okay.
Right? Whether you call it meditation or self-knowledge or mindfulness or, there's lots of names for it.
Prayer. Would you call it prayer?
More like contemplation.
Contemplation.
Prayers tend to have words. You want to get out of the word realm, right?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But people also talk about silent prayer. So that would be silent prayer.
Silent prayer. Could you visualize in this state, or do you just want to try to get to quiet still?
No, because you're tripping already. If you're visualizing, you're already tripping.
Okay.
Right. And then you visualize. So you visualize nice things, but then you also visualize disasters. So you're creating that. When you visualize, you're creating something. Right. What I'm talking about is you don't want to create the peace. You want to discover it. You want to feel it.
It's already there.
You don't want to create the unconditional, empowering love that is your nature. You want to discover it. You want to feel it.
Well, this is interesting. So, Udo, you're not even seeing a visual picture. You're hearing nothing, seeing nothing, and you're just 0 point. Is that what you're doing?
The peace is the 0 point.
But you have no visual picture in your mind when you're
just pushing out thoughts, and you're pushing out, right? You're pushing it out and trying to just, I think Wayne Dyer used to talk about it as the gap, like the space between words. It's like,
some people talk about the space between the in-breath and the out-breath. Yeah, there's all kinds. But when you say that, you were already tripping on words again.
I can't help myself.
Right? I get it. And it's a talk show, so we're going to be on words, right?
Right. It's hard to be quiet. It's hard to be still and be no thought,
in the time you take for stillness. You want to leave all that outside, because all the words are in here, in your cortex, right? There's no words in your kneecap. There's no words in your bum on the floor, or I mean, on the chair, right?
Right.
There's no words in the feeling of your feet on the floor. There's no words in following your breathing in and out and just going with that, right? So you focus elsewhere other than in your mind when you're doing that stillness practice.
Okay. And then how long do you need to do it?
Actually, if you really focus, you can do it in one breath.
Oh, okay. It's my kind of.
Because it's there.
I just did it. I just did it.
Wait, let's all do it. Done. Done. Udo's doing
it. Quietly, right? And so you live in a world where the nature of the things outside of you is to change. So, the leaves change, the seasons change, the situations change. One day it rains, the next day the sun is shining. So the nature changes all the time. The social nature changes all the time because one day your friend likes you and then they have a bad day and then they don't like you, right? So people change.
Mm-hmm.
The body changes. In the morning, you're maybe raring to go. In the evening, oh God, you can't get to bed fast enough. Or you get tired, or something hurts, or you got gas, or you got a tummy ache because you ate something you knew you shouldn't have eaten, right? Like that. Yeah. And then our mind changes all the time. What we think changes all the time. And our emotions change all the time. This is the world of change. And those things will always be in change. And you cannot control them. You can control some of it. But most of it, I say, okay, I want the leaves to be fall color now. Ain't going to happen until fall, right? So you want things and then you want to control it, because if you're not finding your peace within you as an experience, then you want to somehow get the peace from controlling things that change.
Oh,
yeah, external validation, maybe.
And you could almost say that that's the definition of mental illness.
Interesting.
I mean, it's a really poignant conversation because we live in a time where everything is about external validation and there's a lot of noise. It's very noisy. Social media has just created so much noise. Like it's nonstop.
Yeah, I call it the downside of free speech. The upside of free speech is you get to say what you want. Well, the downside is you get to say what you want. It doesn't have to be true.
Yeah.
And then it creates confusion, right?
It's so confusing and chaotic. Yeah.
So free speech is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you want to have it. You want to have the freedom to express yourself. You don't want anybody to tell you what you should think. Right. On the other hand, you get to think and it's out of control because you're not paying attention. And so then you say things that aren't true. And that has negative consequences.
Yeah. And I think, what would you say to, Ron at the top of the show mentioned the age group that's really affected is the youth right now, 18 to 25. And also my good friend of mine is a marriage and family therapist in Arizona. And I was talking to her and we were talking about drugs and alcohol. And she goes, actually, the alcohol use among teens is down. She said, but suicide is up. And I was like, yeah, I mean, you hear about the suicide statistics is out of control. And I think COVID had a big part to do with that. And I think social media has a big part to do with that because kids get bullied more now than ever. There was so much isolation during COVID. These things all play a part. People missed school, they missed prom, they missed like big moments of their life. There was a fear, like a pandemic of fear that happened that I feel like we all went through PTSD together cumulatively, and we're all still kind of recovering from that.
Except for me.
Except for Udo, because he's got that breath.
Honestly, when COVID hit, I couldn't travel. So my quip was, hey, if you can't go outside, go inside. And I happen to be a person who's been doing that for 50 years.
Right.
To do every day, I do a practice. I need my peace. I was born during a war. So peace has always been important to me.
Yeah.
If you grew up in easy times, you may take that for granted and you may be pretty cavalier about it. And you talk, my friends in the hippie days, my friends used to talk about, oh, let's go and start a war. Oh, good. And I would get mad. And I say, that's not funny.
Yeah.
That's not funny. And they say, why are you so heavy? I said, because I've been through one.
Yes.
And this is not funny. So what you're talking yourself into something that is really stupid. And some of those guys, because they wanted to be cool and have fun, they would like sneak out of the room, because they say, oh, this Udo guy, he's just too heavy. Right. But the truth is, so I'm not as heavy as I used to be because at that time I hadn't found my peace. I was interested in it. And I knew that war was not a good idea, but I hadn't found my peace, my contentment, my calmness inside. So I was pretty heavy about it. Now what I do is I take the time. It is really important, because if you don't make peace more important than your relationship, than your family, than your country, you are actually heading to a war zone in your relationship, in your family, and in your country. And part of where the problems are, all of the problems, is because we are not cultivating peace as a foundation. And, prosperity without peace leads to chaos.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's not my quip. That came from somebody who pointed out. I said, yeah, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're not, so look, how much money have we spent to the Ukraine and to Israel and
Too much.
where there are wars, for wars?
Yeah.
And how much money have we spent on peace at home?
Interesting.
Zero.
Right.
Zero.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. You talk about US, or you talk about Canada, or you talk about Germany, or you talk about, it doesn't matter where you talk. The governments do not teach peace at home. Not one government on this planet is teaching peace at home.
Right.
Even though peace is the foundation for harmonious living.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not taught in school. It's not taught. And a lot of times, we're not brought up that way. Our parents don't know how to teach that. So they're not passing that on.
Of course, they weren't taught, and they weren't taught, and their parents weren't taught, and they weren't taught.
We just keep regurgitating.
And we've been stupid for 200,000 years.
Yeah.
It's about time we got it right.
Right.
Yeah. And so no matter what's going on in the world, you can get to that peaceful state every day.
Yes, because that is the core of my existence. And it's the core of your existence. And it's the core of the existence of everybody who's depressed or anxious or angry. Even I was in Ireland and I talked about peace. And this guy, he said, I've been diagnosed as paranoid schizophrenic.
Yeah.
And is there hope for me? And I said to him, well, first of all, you are not a schizophrenic. You are a human being. And you might have ideation, like words and pictures in your head, hallucinations and stuff like that. You might have that going on in your head. But in the core of your being, there's complete peace, complete contentment. There is no problem at all in the core of your being. Well, he saw so much hope in that.
Oh.
What a kind thing to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not being kind. I'm just being factual. It's just that nobody had ever told him that. Right? So so just because there's voices in your head doesn't mean you have to pay attention to them. So you could bring your focus to the place where there are no voices, where there is just peace, and where you feel unconditionally, empoweringly loved by life. And that's part of your nature. It's indestructibly a part of your nature. You cannot ever lose it. All that ever happens is your focus wanders off.
Okay, well, Udo, how do you do that? So what are your go-to tools to keep your mind healthy and your heart happy? What do you use?
Well, your heart is already happy and your mind is already crazy. So you don't have to do anything, right? From that perspective.
It sounds like a marriage. Is that a marriage? Is that how that works? It sounds like a marriage.
It's a bad marriage most of the time because you're not allowing the heart to be the ruler.
Right.
So when the mind is a good servant, it's a bad boss. But how do you start? Of all the ways, in just thinking about it, of all the ways, where do you start? You start with heartache. You know what heartache is?
Yeah.
Ron, you know what heartache is, Lisa?
I do, but I didn't know why we're starting with it, though. I always like to focus on. Okay.
So let me tell you why. Heartache, you feel it in your chest, and it's like uneasy, uncomfortable, maybe painful. And there are lots of triggers for it, right? Like, I'm in love with the woman and she dumps me. Heartache. Right? And you feel it here, right? Yeah. Everybody knows. I have never met somebody who doesn't know what heartache is. I've asked a lot of people.
Lost your pet, heartache.
Lost your pet. Your grandma died.
A loved one.
Somebody made a promise and didn't keep the promise. Heartache. So heartache is something. What is heartache? What is heartache? What is that?
Yearning for the heart to feel whole again.
Yeah, fundamentally. Right? And then we trigger it. So I think my heartache came from the woman dumping me. It didn't. That triggered the heartache. Then the question is, well, what is the cause of heartache?
Discord.
The cause of heartache, you have to look at how we were created.
Mm-hmm.
You were in your mother's womb.
I thought a stork took me to my house. No.
This is Ron's. Shall we tell him, Udo? Shall we tell him now?
This is a big moment.
I am 100% sure that that's true for you, but nobody else.
Okay,
The stork didn't bring anybody else. Okay, so in your mother's womb, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Everything's taken care of, and it's pretty safe. So the question is, okay, while you're in that place, you don't know you have a mother. You don't know there's a mother surrounding you, and you don't know there's a world surrounding your mother, and you have no language, and you have no faith, and you have no religion. You're just like a little living biological critter, right? Your body's being built. You're not building the body, right? And so where is your focus during that time? And by the way, it's the most boring thing you could imagine. 9 months of nothing,
Wow.
right? And can you imagine 9 months? You spent 9 months in that, but you weren't bored, even though it's really boring. Now, we think we get bored when it gets quiet because we've become addicted to doing.
Yeah.
But in there, you're not addicted to doing yet, right? So you're hanging out. So where's your focus? Well, your focus had no place to go. So your focus was at rest, inside, in its source, in life, and maybe beyond that, in awareness.
Mm-hmm.
And you were literally like a yogi, in deep
a baby
meditation
yogi.
for 9 months.
Preparing for what's to come.
Yeah, well, and you had no clue what's coming either.
You had no clue. You needed
but you were literally in deep meditation for 9 months going, right? And maybe if your mother was on drugs or you had psychological stuff going on, that affected your body, but it did not affect that awareness, that core, that peace, because that cannot be affected by any trauma. Nor did it affect the energy that is life, that is a solar fraction, a solar energy fraction. I'll get to that in a second, because that is not affected by any of the dramas and the traumas, ever. And what happens is we get attracted into the dramas and the traumas, understandably. And the cure for that is to find our way back to the place within us that cannot be traumatized. Then you can begin to live your life, from life, for life again, rather than living your life for memory of trauma.
Or reactive, right? I mean, I think most people are reactive. So you wake up, you might have the best attitude that your day is going to be amazing. And then boom, you spill your coffee. Oh, okay. Now you're irritated. You go and then hit traffic on, your way to work. Okay. Now you're getting frustrated, whatever. And then your whole day is reacting to what's happening. Right.
Yeah. And then you become a victim of everything that comes at you because you didn't take the time to stay in the peace and say, you know what? I don't care if I spilled my coffee. I'm not giving up my peace for spilled coffee.
Nothing's worth that. Yeah.
Right? I'm not giving up feeling unconditionally, empoweringly loved by life.
Yeah.
Because I spilled a coffee, or because somebody made a funny face at me, or because somebody said something because they weren't feeling good, so they didn't feel good about me.
Yeah.
Right. But what we've done, we've traded in our birthright, our power, our peace. We trade that in for trinkets, for garbage, for stupid things. That really, if you really sit down and say, well, how important is it that that person called me stupid? No, it's not important at all, because I am what I am. And maybe I am stupid, and that's okay. Even that's okay.
Oh,
right?
That's powerful. So yeah, because bullying is a big thing. We just met with some families over the weekend whose one of the children was bullied at her old school. And actually, I talked to a lot of parents whose kids are experiencing this. No matter what. I mean, these are bright.
Probably every kid at some point.
Probably every kid.
Experiences it, because at some point you're little and somebody else is bigger.
Yeah. And you'd think these are kids that wouldn't get bullied. But yeah, I think everybody has some kind of situation. And it's very traumatic when you're at that young age and you want people to like you. All you want to do is fit in, right?
Yeah, all of that is true. But if you look at the source of it, not in terms of how socially we're functioning, but when somebody bullies you, okay, so you get hurt, your body gets hurt, the peace is still the peace, and the unconditional empowering love is still the unconditional empowering love. And if you could stay there instead of getting drawn out, which is not easy to do. So I'm trying to not make light of it, right? But if you could do that, and as you get older, you become more and more responsible for your own reactions, for your own focus, right? If you could stay in that focus, then you basically, your wound would heal and you'd still be in peace and you'd still feel unconditionally loved.
Yeah.
And that is possible, but it requires us to do the homework.
It's work. Yeah. It's a practice.
And the homework is the home you do at home. And where's your home? The space your body occupies. In
no matter
that
where
space,
you are,
that's
right?
your home. And you take that with you, and that unconditional empowering love is always there. And the all-encompassing peace is always there. And once you see it there, it's actually everywhere. So you're living in a universe of peace. It is the foundation for everything. And it's like, wow, if you had access to that, how much power how much freedom would that give you? And how much would you be less affected by all the crap that people try to talk you into? Right? And the government talks you into one kind of crap, and the religion talks you into another kind of crap, and your so-called buddies talk you into some other crap, and the educational system tells you things, half of which aren't true, even in science.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And your doctor tells you something else, and it has, they call it healthcare, but it's actually disease management. And you live in a world where a lot of the things, like maybe not most, but a lot of the things that people tell you, if you actually examine them from a clear place, say, well, that's not true. Well, that's not true. Well, that's not true either. Well, what is true? Well, what is true, you got to sit down and get quiet and experience what is true to life by being present in the space that your body occupies.
Do you have to do this, or do you recommend this first thing when you wake up? Because I'm guessing if you don't do that in the morning, then you're kind of setting yourself up for being reactive and affected. You could do it anytime. If you're standing in the checkout line in your grocery store, people get really impatient. Wait, that's a gift, because you get to have time where you just go.
And they're like, sir, it's your turn to
right?
Sir, can we get your groceries on the thing, please?
Or you're sitting on the toilet waiting for nature to take its course, right? Well, you say, you could actually just sit there and say, right? It doesn't matter,
we're going there.
Or you're waiting at a bus stop.
Yeah. You're driving in your car.
Or you're in the bank. There's always lineups in banks. Or you're stopped at a stop sign in your car. Right?
Okay.
There are so many times when we have to wait. That is perfect
doctor's
opportunity
office
for us to go into love and peace, instead of saying, you hurry up, don't you know who I am? What do you have? I'm in a hurry, right? And so we get really crazy when we could be just like, And the thing is, because that's our nature, not going there, we're ignoring the most important part of our nature. There's no culture, no religion, no government that I know of that encourages people to take the time. The only people that came close to that were always the masters. And there's been a ton of them. Buddha and Christ and Krishna, and they were teachers of human nature. They taught people how to get in touch with the magnificence of being.
Yeah.
Right? And then the church turned it on its head and used it as a control trip.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you can't even go to the religious institutions, because it's a personal journey of your own magnificence. Every child, in my view, every child was born like a Buddha child, a Christ child in their nature. And then when we get born, then we got to get to know the world, because we're now like in that Buddha tank, we were in deep meditation. Well, now it's changed. Everything isn't taken care of. Now you got to get to know the world. And in that process, our focus goes from present inside and absent outside to more and more present outside and absent inside. And the disconnection from presence inside is where heartache begins. And then we try to find ways of dealing with heartache or uneasiness or whatever we call that, yearning, striving, blues. There's lots of words for it, right? Then we're trying to deal with the blues by something on the outside. So if I make $1 million, I'll be happy. I had a guy say that to me one day. I said, no, you won't.
I think most people think that.
Yeah. And he said that to me, and I said, no, you won't. He said, what do you mean? I said, because when you make $1 million, you'll find out you have 3 days where you're going to say, I did it. And on the 4th day, it's like, no, that didn't do it. Oh,
Interesting.
okay. So I said, then you're going to say, if I make $10 million, I'll be happy. And you go through the same thing again, because 10 million won't make you happy. And if you look at, all the really, really, really rich people, the billionaires, most of them are pretty petty people.
Yeah.
They're not any happier than the people who got nothing.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We just heard a podcast on that. We just heard a podcast with a coach who works with billionaires and said most of the ones that he works with are very unhappy.
Yeah, they're driven, but they're not driven to peace, love, and happiness.
And it's so much focus on the success and the accumulation of wealth, and that they get unbalanced and forget, like, even to, a lot of these people don't even take vacations because it's just like, I can't.
And then they make a lot of money, and then they make $50 billion and they're not happy. And it doesn't occur to them that if $50 billion doesn't do it for you, then maybe 100 might not either. But then they're chasing it and chasing it and chasing it. And they're just like hamsters on the hamster wheel.
Mm-hmm. It's not the money. So you can be, because I want to preface this, it's not the money. Money's not evil, and there's nothing against having a lot of money. It's that you've got to get your inner healing done so that when you get that $1 million, you're still at peace.
It's that peace has nothing to do with money, and unconditional empowering love has nothing to do with money.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem with money is not that money is evil, but the love of money that makes you sacrifice life and sacrifice everything for just more money.
Yeah.
That's
health a lot of times. Health goes down. Health. Yeah.
Too.
Health gets messed up sometimes.
That's where the evil is.
Yeah.
Evil is the love of money, and you make money more important than life. There's something wrong with that picture.
Right. They get
Absolutely. Well, Udo, what are some other simple steps listeners can do right now to uplevel? They want to uplevel their energy. They want a better mood. What are some simple steps they can do?
So you start with heartache. You don't have to look for heartache. You get it on a regular basis from different things that you hoped will make you happy and didn't. Okay. So you get triggered. So most people don't like it. What do you do with heartache? You either distract yourself from it by doing something else, take your mind off it, or you deny it or ignore it, or maybe you try to explain it away, or you blame it on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And what I say to people is, no, that's not the way to deal with heartache. Because if your heart aches, stay with it, be with it, feel it, sit with it quietly. Don't get just notice it, appreciate it, accept it. Because if you sit with your heartache quietly, that far behind it, less than a hair's breadth behind that heartache, is your reconnection to your wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
So heartache is actually the greatest gift life has given you, other than just being alive. Because if it wasn't for heartache, which pulls you out of your head, puts you into your body, makes you simple, grounds you, right? If it wasn't for heartache calling you home, because heartache is your life calling your focus to come back home inside to reconnect. If it wasn't for that, we would get so spaced out, we would get lost, we would never find our way home. Just like hunger is a gift, because it tells you when your body needs more fuel and more energy and makes you eat.
Mm-hmm.
If you lost your hunger, you would starve to death and never notice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, same with thirst. Thirst is there to remind you need some water, right? If you never got thirst, you would dehydrate till you die.
Kind of like illness too. Like we say this a lot, your body will give you whispers and symptoms. Maybe it's an allergy, whatever, that is kind of your wake up call. And a lot of times people will mask that with a pill, right? Instead of going,
right.
Why am I having this reaction? Or maybe this food, every time I eat it, is making me feel bad, but I just keep ignoring it. But that is your body trying to tell you.
Yeah, well, pain is a gift. Pain is a gift that gets your attention. And pain is really good at getting your attention, right?
Yeah.
And then says something is off and needs to change. It doesn't tell you what it is. But once it's got your attention, then you try to figure it out. You try this. No, that doesn't work. We tried that. That's maybe a little better. So then you have to figure out what it is you need to do to make the pain go away. And when you do what caused the pain, when you actually address it, the pain goes away. Pain is like an attention getter, just like heartache is an attention getter. And heartache is just the central kind of pain that's about us looking for our peace. And the crazy thing about it is, I have heartache for peace. The peace is already there. I'm missing because my focus is somewhere else. My focus is in here, or my focus is out there. The peace that I'm looking for out there is waiting for me to discover it in here.
Yeah.
Right. Would the same be true if you felt like warmth and love in a special moment? Is that a reminder that you're following the right course for the inner peace? Because you were talking about heartache being a trigger to reflect in, but isn't it a positive reinforcement to know that if your heart feels great, that's a good sign too? What do you think that way?
Yes and no, because when somebody loves me on the outside, then I feel, oh, somebody loves me. But now I'm making that person responsible for feeling loved.
Oh, I see.
And when she has a bad day, I don't feel loved. So what we're doing is we're trying to get love from other people to make up for the fact that we're not in touch with love for ourselves, or the love that life has for your body. And fundamentally, what we need to do is do the homework first. And when I feel loved, then I can have a lot of fun with somebody and we can have something beautiful going on, but I'm not putting the burden on her that she should make me happy. That's homework she needs to do for herself, and I need to do for myself in order to have a really beautiful relationship.
Okay, maybe you answer my question. What if you watch this amazing video? It's a puppy video. The puppy has no recollection that you're watching the video, but it warms your heart for whatever reason. It's something strong. Isn't that reinforcement that that's the right path for peace? I was trying to figure out, there's a positive way to realize that you're going inside for peace. Do you know what I'm getting at? Because you were saying the heartache triggers that.
No, but when you're watching the puppy, you're not going inside for peace. You're going outside for peace.
Okay.
Right? But what's true is when you feel it inside. So it ain't the puppy. The puppy's a trigger. So the trigger could be negative to heartache, or it could be positive to love, but it's still a trigger, and it's not you being responsible for being present in your own space.
I was trying to find a way to learn to go inside inner peace in a positive way versus looking, the negative. That's why I was asking you the opposite.
Well, I'll tell you why that doesn't seem to work for human beings. When we have it too easy, we become sloppy. Okay. I was born during the Second World War. So I was in the war, and I was an orphan kid, and I was a refugee kid, and we got stripped. We got everything stripped. Culture got stripped. The farm got stripped. The house got stripped. The cutlery got stripped, the language got stripped, the friends, the neighbors, everything got stripped, other than we had our clothes, we had our body, and the life in the body. So I got everything stripped. So I don't live in a culture where I take stuff for granted. But people in North America take the culture for granted, and they freak out when something gets taken away from them, some little thing gets taken away from them, because we're indulged. We're entitled. And so then we have bad reactions for little things.
Yeah.
Because we don't realize how bad it can get.
Yeah.
And we don't realize how good we've got it. And so when you try to get inside through something nice, well, it sort of gives you a little bit of a flavor, but it doesn't make you do the work. And there are people who say, look, when the pain of not doing the homework is greater than the pain of doing the homework, because it's kind of painful to sit still if you're not used to it, right? The pain of not changing is stronger than the pain of changing, then we change.
Right.
And it seems to be more negative things that make us pay attention more than positive things.
I have a question, because part of this, because it isn't easy to stay in that state every day with chaos going on in the world. I know it takes practice, daily practice, to kind of build up a muscle, really, and get better at it.
And then it does become easy.
And then it becomes easy. Do you personally avoid negative, like a movie that would be like a stressful movie or a negative people and negative, like, and if you find yourself in a conversation that's negative, do you excuse yourself? Like, how do you manage that?
Well, it depends on what's important to you. Right? If being part of a group that is dysfunctional is more important to you than having your peace, then you'll put up with the dysfunction. But you don't have to. And I will walk from situations
You will. So you'll just excuse yourself and say,
Yeah, I mean, I can't walk from all situations.
right.
But if I have a choice in a situation, being around negative people, why would I do that?
Right.
And
right.
how does that help me?
Give us a good technique, because I know this is something people struggle with, especially in like political conversations. They can get heated and people are very, very ego driven when it comes to that. Ego meaning like it's their way. And if you don't think like them, you're wrong. Right. So that happens a lot.
You can ask them a question. I always like it, because people have very strong opinions, and those opinions come from experience, whatever the experience was. As a childhood, like if your parents beat you every time you didn't say the right Jesus words, you're probably going to become a Christian who's very harsh. Okay, it's just like an example, right? So what I do in those situations, I try to find out how they arrived at their strong opinion.
That's good.
I don't argue with them that their opinion is wrong, because their opinion is their opinion.
Right.
It has a foundation, right? But I'm interested in what it is, and maybe through their insight of how they got to their opinion, that might be helpful to them as well.
That's good. That's good. That's a good tool, because I was thinking of tools that.
But here's the thing. When I feel loved and I'm in peace, I don't need to be right.
Yes, that's right.
A lot of times being right becomes a substitute for being content.
Yeah.
And you don't get contentment from being right. You get worse from being right.
Right. There's a quote: confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud. And I always love that, because it's true, right? When you're confident.
I must be really insecure because I'm pretty loud right now.
I'm loud too. So I think
you'll be meditating right after this. So you'll get back to your confidence.
No, but it's a beautiful topic. 8 billion people on this planet could live in touch with peace and feel unconditionally loved and live in inspired purpose, where they want to help instead of take, give instead of take, help instead of hurt. 8 billion people could. We're wired for that. It's just that the powers that be have never encouraged, and no culture that I know of encourages going to peace and going to love, even though those are our basic nature, to go to those and use those as a foundation to live a life and live on a planet where we actually take care of everything.
I would add health to that too, because I don't think we're really taught that. You have to learn that.
Life is perfect health.
But I mean, growing up, like, you're not taught anything about health. You have to learn that on your own.
Yeah. And we call disease management healthcare.
Yeah, right.
But it's actually disease management. If you want to be healthy, health was invented by life in nature. You need to live in line with nature and your nature in order to be totally healthy.
Yes.
And yes, no culture that I know of teaches that.
Yeah.
But you know what? The masters did, and the wise people did.
Yeah. The Buddhists, right? The Buddhists at the monasteries, I mean, they know this.
I would say the Buddhas.
The Buddhas.
Yeah, I'm not sure the Buddhists. They get into stuff too, right? And they all say, like Buddha said, you are a Buddha, whether you know it or not. It's better to know it than not to know it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you an example, and then you're going to tell me, okay, so somebody has a stressful job. They have this mean boss. I'm just creating this. They've been late to work. The boss says one more time, and you're going to lose your job. The person, has a snafu on their way to work, and they're late, and then they get fired. We're talking about a crisis situation for somebody. Maybe they got a diagnosis. Like, I think that's the real challenge that people have. Like, how do they get to that quiet, peaceful state when they feel like their life has spiraled out? And it sounds good to be quiet and calm, but things feel like they're falling apart, right?
See, your life never spiraled out of control. Your life is not spiralable out of control. Your life is your life. Unconditional, empowering love. That's still there. Not changed, not affected by the firing. You might ask, why did you hang out with this boss who was awful in the first place? Right?
Should have had a red flag at that interview.
Yeah, that's a sign, right? Some people will make you sick. So it's better you walk from them, and it's better.
So in like a state like that, would you say, universe always has my back? Things are always working out for me.
Yeah, you could say, thank God it's over.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Like always finding the positive in every situation.
Yeah, but I don't mean, try and make up some nice mindset.
Okay.
I'm saying get to the place where that's true. Something is somewhere in you that's true. Mindset is overrated. Because a mindset, you create the mindset, and you could create it positive and you create it negative and you create it. So it's like a thrival mindset. But if you suck back a little behind that and get into the experience, the direct, personal, inner experience of the peace that is your foundation and the unconditional, empowering love that life has for your body, if you're in touch with that, you don't have to make it up. You don't have to make it up. You've already got it. You know, the mindset tries to get you there by your thoughts. What if you go beyond your thoughts and go there because it's already there? Right?
Yeah. I mean, anything. Someone with a terminal cancer listening to this show can get to that place, even though everything around them feels chaotic and they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel.
No. So let's just look at what is cancer. Your body is a terminal condition. Even you guys, even me, right? My body is a terminal condition. That's a fact. Okay.
Right.
And I like the Jesus story a lot because it's actually the story of every human being. So number one, conception was immaculate. You know, the conception of a child is an immaculate process. True for every human being. Everybody comes into the world by lowly birth. Lowly birth, what does that mean? Well, one of the church fathers said, we are all born between the urine and the excrements. Oh, yeah. And that's true for the billionaires too, right? Came through the same channel, right? And then, you know, we grow up and then we contribute something. And sooner or later, every body gets crucified in one way or another. The body is a terminal condition. Could be a car accident. It could be a cancer. It could be old age. It could be toxicity. So there's a lot of ways to get crucified. And after that, and this is the one for cancer, death is not the end. The body, you know, if you think you're the body and you're just identified with the body, then as the body becomes less virile or vibrant, then you're going to say, oh my God, I'm getting old. Oh boy. Oh. But in that body is something that never ages.
Right. And never dies.
That survives death because it's formless to begin with. Life is formless energy and peace is formless awareness. Those never die. So what happens is when you die, if you think about it, what happened when you were in your mother's womb, you were in peace, in love, and you didn't know the outside world. Then you came out and you got into the outside world. I call it the world of surfaces of things. And you hear things and you see the movement and you get involved in all of that. But what happens when you die, your focus falls back into its source. And literally you disconnect from the outside world. Then you disconnect from your ideas. Then you disconnect from your body. And you end up merging in the energy, whether you call that light or sound. Both are experienceable. Or love, feeling of love. All of that is energy. And then beyond that, you go into pure awareness. And so literally, you're born into an externalization and you die into an internalization. Right? And so the people who do the practice of peace, like in meditation is like dying. In fact, some people call it practice dying. Why? Because what you do is you deliberately disconnect from the outside world, disconnect from your thinking, disconnect from your body, bathe in the energy, bathe in the awareness, right? And the only difference between dying and meditation is that when you meditate, you're doing it deliberately and you come back out into the world. And when you're dying, it's not voluntary and you don't come back.
Interesting.
But when you know how to go into those deeper places, the fear of death disappears because you actually know yourself as something that never dies. That is eternal. How cool is that?
That's really cool. But one final question here. So we've talked about your stillness practice. Obviously, you believe in nourishing your body with healthy food, healthy nutrients, oils, that make you thrive. You're a perfect example of someone living in their 80s who's thriving, full of energy, great health, vibrant. If we're not going to pass over at this moment, we want to get to our 80s, 90s, 100s, whatever it may be. Do you also have a physical practice that helps you get to a stillness state? And so what I mean by that, are you some sort of yoga pose? Are you consistently making sure that you're keeping your heartbeat at a certain beat?
You're working out, exercising?
Is that exercising? Yeah.
All of the above. You can do, like, I have a chin-up bar in my door jamb, right?
Yeah, Rod does too. Rod does too.
I'm a mini Udo.
I sometimes stand on it with my muscles slightly tense and just feel the presence in that pose. I just made that up, right? I lie down in my bed. The issue is never the pose. The issue is, how do you bring the focus into the space your body occupies? Okay? What I tell people to do, and this is like a way to answer your question finally, is number one, believe, or at least accept until you find out for sure, that everything you're looking for is already inside of you. That peace, that love, that feeling content, that feeling whole, that feeling healthy, that's already within you. Not necessarily part of your body, but in you.
Mm-hmm.
And
your spirit, your soul.
So that's number one. So you already have what you're looking for.
The six-pack is there. The six-pack is...
Yeah, the six-pack is there.
It may be deeply hidden, but it's there.
But I'm not talking about physical. But you don't even have to do anything other than shift your focus to get to the love and to get to the peace, okay? So number one, it's already within you. You are as Buddha was. You have what Christ talked about is already within you. It is human nature. These were teachers of human nature. You don't get taught human nature anywhere else other than from these master teachers, okay? So it's already within you. Focus on heartache as a place to pull you in, and then practice as often as you can in voluntary solitude, in stillness, bringing your focus into the space your body occupies. And then it's like learning to walk. You fell on your nose, I don't know how many times, but now you're walking. You can lose your focus. You won't fall on your nose. You won't get a bloody nose, but you lose your focus. We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back. We'll bring it back. And just get good at moving your focus. Because you can do it on the outside. On the outside, I could say, oh, okay, well, there's you on that picture, and there's you on that picture. And over there's the trees and the leaves, and over there's a lamp, and over here's something else, right? So I can move my focus outside everywhere really well. Inside, I could do that too if I practiced as much moving inside within our focus as I have practiced going outside in our focus. Because we go outside every day, all the time. Hardly ever we go inside and get good at focusing inside. That's the homework.
That's the homework, guys. Would you say, Udo, because Ron and I are big believers of law of attraction and vision boards and manifestation, and that's part of our daily practice.
But that's part of the mental,
right?
So you're trying to create that, and I'm trying to get you to go to something that you don't have to create, only rediscover.
Okay, so you're trying to manifest blank. I'm just going to use a car. Okay, this is your dream car. You're trying to manifest that. When you go into your state of just the stillness, but your car is something you're achieving, like it could be your success in your business, whatever, love, anything, health. Are you attracting it more just from being in that still space that you were talking about? Because what we've been taught by a lot of teachers that we follow is when you focus, and yes, they want you to get very excited. They want you to have the feeling attached to the joy of whatever you're attracting, not just the visual. And then the energy attracts like energy, right? I mean, that's how law of attraction is taught. Like energy attracts like energy. So in your situation, how do you attract things in your life that you are desiring if you're not focusing them on them? Or will they just come when you put yourself in a practice of staying still and quiet? Will the things that are meant for you just kind of find their way to you?
It's a great question. Well, first of all, if you want a car, you could just go steal it. Right? Instead of visualizing, or, you could. I'm not saying you should. And if a car thief wants a car, guaranteed he visualizes the car. But it's not about visualizing, it's about focus. What you love, what works for you, pulls your focus. Okay? Like, how come I worked in oils? It pulled my focus.
But do you think that was because of your stillness practice?
The stillness practice made the possibility open.
Okay, yeah, that was my
question. Because literally from that place, anything is possible.
Okay.
Because on the foundation of the peace that is within you, the entire universe, including you, got created. Out of peace. That's the foundation of everything. When you can go to that peace, you can literally go in any direction. which is cool,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But what direction will you go in? Well, that depends on who you are, where you live, and what your experiences are and what your talents are. And for me, I never slid out of my mother's body and said, I'm going to be the fat man and I'm going to dedicate 40 years to working with
Healthy
oils,
fat.
making oils with health in mind, right? That was never on my roster. But something happened where I had a contradiction between omega-6 is essential and omega-6 gives you cancer and kills you. And that completely pulled me in because I needed to understand better than I understood. This is contradictory.
Right.
No, it can't be contradictory because I'm sick. I need to get healthy. So that made me look deeper. And then when I realized that we could make oils with health in mind, it was like, oh my God, 99% of the population doesn't get enough omega-3s.
99.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
99. Oh
Yeah.
my God, we could help almost everybody.
Yeah.
And it feels so good when you help that it feels good in your heart.
Yeah.
Just like it feels bad in your heart when you hurt people.
Right.
If you're
Right.
paying attention, right?
You suffer. Yeah.
So then that drew me in. And I got so excited. I had no business background and we built a business. And it was so exciting. But the excitement was, oh my God, we could make life so much better. And being a war baby, that's important to me, right? Because war is about as low as it gets. Oh my God, anything I can do to make quality of life better, I want to be into that.
That was more important, the driving factor for you than the success, would you say, of the business?
What success?
Changing people's lives, was that the bigger
What success?
financial success, however you want to?
You know what? I have literally never given a shit about money because we grew up without money and I don't remember ever feeling deprived. My sister did. She compared herself to other people. I never did. I always had a project going on. I've never done anything for money in my life.
Wow.
Even though money has always been part of it. But the focus is about
Not the
quality. The focus is about life. The focus is, this is the planet that has life on it.
Yeah.
Anything you can do to encourage, empower, protect, save life, that's inspiring.
Yes. That will fill you up.
And we're built up and we're built to be inspired by helping if we get in touch with our own deepest inner impulses.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people are living lives, I don't even know what percentage I would
desperation.
say. Yeah. Quiet desperation. Jobs they hate. I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of people in jobs that they hate.
And why? Because you got to do something for money.
Right.
I was broke for 15 years working on oils. I moved in with my mother. I was 41 when I moved back in with my mother.
Wow.
She ended up having a stroke, so it was nice for me to be around and help her in little ways. But the reason I did it wasn't I saw the check at the end of it. I said, oh my God, this is worth doing. Oh my God, people could probably benefit from what I'm learning about oils as I'm doing this research for my own situation.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, oh my God, this is worth doing. So I was doing it because it was worth doing, and there was no check at the end of it.
Yeah.
Right? For 15 years.
Wow. So someone who's in a job that they hate right now, besides the practice, do you think people who hate what they're doing, because there's a lot of them, should get a hobby that they love? Or would you say jump ship and just try to figure out doing what?
Well, you could do it any way you want, but my guess is that if you do your homework and you discover the beauty of your existence, you will stop hating the job and you'll do the best you can.
Okay.
And my guess is that you will outgrow the job.
Yeah.
And that's how the change will happen. But it might also be you wake up one night and you see a picture and said, oh my God, I got to do this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You'll feel the calling.
Yeah. It'll be something that gets your attention.
It'll get you there. Yeah.
And fits your personality and fits your education and fits your talents and fits, it's for you. It's like God's gift through you.
Right. As our friend Suzanne says, your unique divine soul blueprint. We all have it, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Shout out, Suzanne. Well, thank you, Udo. We are kind of out of time. We've gone over and we could talk to you for hours. That's why you came back for round 2.
Maybe we'll have to do round 3.
Right. All right.
We got more to talk about. Udo, thank you for being with us today. Friends, be sure to snag your free gift, the first draft of Udo's new upcoming book, Your Body Needs an Oil Change.
Just like your car.
Just like your car. You do it for your car, do it for your body. And he's also got a bonus video course, and you can head to Udo Erasmus, that's UDOERASMUS.com/healthy home hacks, where you'll learn bad oils out, good oils in. If you do it right, you will look better, feel better, think better, do better, and be better.
Yes. And friends, as always, please be sure to rate and subscribe to this show. If you like listening to amazing guests like Udo, like it. Give us 5 stars. Let us know.
And don't forget that you got amazing hosts like Ron and Lisa.
Thank you.
No, because, you're live wires. That's what I say, live wires. It's like it's fun to have a conversation with you guys because you bring it out. Like if you were like,
yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do this. So the host is as important as the guest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
That's a sweet compliment.
Very kind.
Plus, if I wasn't talking to your tribe or whatever you call the people who follow you, I'd be downstairs in my bathroom talking to myself in the mirror.
We don't want that. We need Udo here. We need to hear.
I've done all of that I ever will need to do in my life.
Well, we are glad you're talking to us today.
Absolutely.
Guys.
I kind of thought you'd be in stillness, Udo, but that's okay if you talk yourself in the mirror too.
Well, the stillness is there.
It's still there. He's got to talk to somebody.
I'm in touch with it even while I'm talking.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And as always, head to thehealthyhomehacks.com for all the show notes. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Stay healthy, everyone. And thank you. And thank you, Udo. Thanks so much.
And take your oil. Take your Udo's oil.
This episode of the Healthy Home Hacks podcast has ended, but be sure to subscribe for more healthy living strategies and tactics to help you create the healthy home you've always dreamed of. And don't forget to rate and review so we can continue to bring you the best content. See you on the next episode.